So, last time we talked about how Hitler basically made the Jews feel like crap with all their ethnic cleansing. Now, the Nazis tried to kick it up a notch and stick all the Jews in ghettos. The first ghetto they established was in Lodz, and they called it the Lodz Ghetto because the Nazis were creative like that. It was established in December of 1939, and Chaim Rumkowski basically crowned himself king of the whole thing, even though he just organized the Jewish council there. He thought he was rescuing the Jews from a modern Amalek and saw the ghetto as the Jewish kingdom. Obviously, he didn't play princess enough when he was a kid, but his psychology is a different discussion. Anyway, he used to sacrifice some to save the rest, and he paid the Nazis through labor, which he thought worked because Lodz was the last ghetto standing in the end. The Nazis are enjoying this whole Lodz ghetto thing, but they're not really sure what to do with the Jews in the long run. Eichmann thought they should send them all to Madagascar and published that plan in July of 1940, but that had its own issues. The Nazis actually ended up sticking with the whole ghetto thing and making an even bigger ghetto in Warsaw that October, creatively called the Warsaw Ghetto. Adam Chernikov led the Judenrat in the Warsaw Ghetto, but he wasn't as intense as the last guy. He would ask the Nazis for more stuff sometimes. Also, in the ghetto, there was lots of resistance, including Emanuel Ringelblum's Oyneg Shabbos. He legit kept records of the whole thing in a milk until 1943. Classic resistance, writing, wanting to bear witness, etc. Now, these ghettos are all well and good, but the Nazis are thinking that there needs to be a more permanent situation for the Jews. So, here's the thing about that. We know that there was a final solution published in July of 1941. We also know they worked out the logistics at the Wannsee Conference on January 20th, 1942. But here's the pièce de résistance. No one else was in the room where it happened, the room where it happened, the room where it happened. No one else was in the room where it happened, the room where it happened, the room where it happened. No one really knows how the game is played, the art of the paid, how the sausage gets made. We just assume that it happens, but no one else is in the room where it happened. Dun, 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 dun. Next thing we know, it was October of 1941, and they made Odlio Globachnik in charge of Operation Reinhard, a collection of 3 camps: Belzec, Sobibor, and Treblinka, whose sole purpose was killing the Jews with carbon monoxide. Eichmann was in charge of deporting all the Jews to these camps. The Einsatzgruppen got put in charge of USSR mobile killing operations, more on that later, and everyone got to work. Meanwhile, I just want to note that establishing camps was not a new thing for Nazis. They had concentration camps for political prisoners that they started in 1933 with Dachau. They started this whole project with the Einsatzgruppen killing random communist commissars and Jews in the streets in the USSR. They soon realized that this wasn't really working because it was mad expensive, mad messy, and TBH, not so much fun. So they established Chelmno in 1942, which was a mobile killing center in the Polish woods near Lodz, which actually is kind of funny because in Polish, Lodz is woods, and that sounds like woods, lol. They used gas vans and trucks to poison the Jews with carbon monoxide. Now this was fun. Let's build a whole bunch, they thought. So the Nazis got Odlio Globachnik, oh my god, I actually almost spelled correctly this time, oh my god, it was so cool, to run the whole building the camps and stuff because it was his idea, so it's only fair that he's in charge. This was called Operation Reinhard, and he started getting everything together in October of 1941 and started deporting as soon as spring of 42. They finished this whole deportation thing in November of 42. The Jews were really not down to being deported to be killed, which is pretty fair, so they had a ton of uprisings. The first one was in Warsaw on April 19, 1943. The liquidation of that ghetto was supposed to be a nice birthday present for Hitler, but the Jews had other plans. Led by Mordechai Anglowitz, they had the most famous of all the uprisings. This did delay the deportation until about May, but they didn't succeed completely. There were a few more uprisings, too. In Bialystok, the anti-fascist military organization came in close second on August 16, 1943. Basically, when the Nazis announced that they were deporting, everyone flipped a shit and tried to break the German siege and escape into the Canesian forest. 150 people actually got out, but everyone else basically died, which was sad. Now, this started a real uprising trend, because it seems to be working so well. In September of 1943, the oh-so-cool Ichik Wittenberg led the United Partisan Organization in an uprising in the Vilna Ghetto where they went into the woods. The time is now, I have to go and eat a cow. Okay, enough about that. Fun fact, there was also uprisings in the death camps. On August 2nd, 1943, everyone tried to escape Treblinka and Sobibor. It totally didn't work, but it was a valiant effort. When the Jews got to the camps, the ones who made it, that is, a lot of them just got sorted straight to their deaths. They went to Operation Reinhard camps, Belzec, Sobibor, and Treblinka, or to what I call 2-for-1 specials, both concentration and death camp in one place. These were Majdanek and Auschwitz-Birkenau. Speaking of Auschwitz, this camp was literally Hitler's baby. Rudolf Höss led it, and Hitler asked him to make it the biggest and the best, so he did. Instead of carbon monoxide and like one gas chamber like the others had, Auschwitz had 5 beautiful killing centers that went straight to crematorium, so the Zander commanders, which were Jewish prisoners, could transport the bodies out of the chambers easily. They did this in all the death camps, so it was most efficient in Auschwitz. But what made Auschwitz so amazing was the Zyklon B. Zyklon B, or hydrogen cyanide, was this really great insecticide, perfect because Jews are vermin after all, that came in a small pill that Nazis could just throw in the chamber and the Jews would be dead in like 2 minutes. How great is that? In 1944, the Nazis started to realize they were going to lose. So 2 days after my birthday, on November 25th, Himmler ordered that they shut down Auschwitz because genocide doesn't really look great on a resume for peace talks, and it was a great Shabbos present for the Jews. But the Nazis were so not done torturing them. God forbid they should miss a great opportunity for some torture while cleaning out the camps. When they transported the Jews in January of 1945, they legit called it the Death March because 2/3 of the people died along the way. That walk was literal hell. But that May, we tended to our wounded, we counted our dead. The Jews were finally free, and then after a rough 3 years, we got the beautiful state of Israel. Am Yisrael Chai.